It happened. Third match, third round, Polar Highlands. Ben and Mike, back to you.
What happened?
All right, I'll excuse the impromptu bathroom break because we got Polar.
Yeah,
it's all good.
You know what? It's all worth it now.
I completely forgot all of that. We're back into action
I don't
now.
even know how to call a match on Polar. We haven't done it before.
There's some points in places and people shoot at
so,
people.
yeah.
Well, this will be a adventure for all of us.
Yeah.
So
you got to wonder, have either of these teams practiced on Polar? I mean, we saw it one drop out of the entire semifinals. One time we saw Polar Highlands.
We
not
didn't
between
see
these.
it.
Yeah, we didn't even see it. We had it recorded. Not between these two teams. You got to wonder, have they practiced it? Do they have a deck in mind? Are they going to be doing something crazy here? So
this
could
is
be pretty
certainly
good.
going to be a wild card. I guarantee you that. I mean, it's for anyone who's not familiar with Polar Highlands. Some people like calling it Polar Lurmlands in public queue. A lot of LRMs. It's a pretty fun map to play on in competitive play, in my opinion. It's very wide open, but when you get to the skill level where you start, every nook and cranny is massive cover for you. There's a lot of little dips and stuff, and a lot of ability to move up and not take fire. And it's tough compared to, say, Canyon Network, where you know every rock and you know where you can hide and where you can't, and where the firing lanes are. Polar's a little bit of a wild card in that not many people know every rock, and it's really tough to find places to be.
Yeah, the other thing about Polar, right, is there's not really any defined features. We go on Canyon Network. Canyon Network has the same sort of vertical elements with hills and valleys, and you can go down low into the valleys to break the sight lines to get out of the fire. But at the same time, on Canyon, you've got Radio Tower, you've got Theta, you've got the Junkyard, you've got Bucket Hill. On Polar Highlands, you don't really have that. You have a couple buildings, but they're kind of far enough out on the map that they're really not in strategic locations. Instead, you have kind of one open area just filled with, general hills, rolling hills and low valleys that you can kind of take advantage of any sort of way. The one thing on Polar that's going to be interesting is in the middle of the map. That's where the cover starts to get really, really hard to find.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a snow cap. There's a peak. So it can almost be like King of the Hill, where whoever controls the center has sightline over pretty much the rest of the map. So you will sometimes see a little bit of a NASCAR on the center, people trying to get angles on people, get behind people, and just try and work whatever they can find. But then sometimes you'll see people push up top and just start wailing down on them, and then all they got to do is back down again.
The other interesting aspect on Polar, we've seen it in a couple other competitive matches, some other leagues we've seen it in, is teams either play kind of a very aggressive, moving power position, right, where you get all your mechs up and you basically just march them into the middle of the map and you just shoot anything that pokes its head up, and you rely on that aggressiveness to protect you because you don't have the cover. On the other hand, we've seen the teams come in and they've instead be very passive, try and take a very fast deck and simply outspeed everyone, grab control of the points, which for the most part around the edges of the map, and just basically stay alive long enough that you can win on a cap game, which is also a very viable strategy on this map.
Definitely viable. I mean, a win is a win. Even if it comes down where your entire team's dead and you still win by caps, you still won the match. And we've seen this several times before in competitive play. It's a risky move. It is risky to play caps on this, but it's possible.
Yes.
It's not guaranteed, but it's possible. And a lot of it comes down to the reaction and the deck choice of your opponent.
Yeah.
Really a lot of mind games, having to outthink your opponent. What do you think they're going to expect? Where do you think they're going to go? Are they going to play split? Are they going to bring fast mediums in addition to their lights to try and get that speed, which could mean that they won't be able to trade as well, especially if they're rolling around in like ice fairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and on Polar Highlands, the cap points are so spread out that you basically have to commit from the start. You're either going to cap or you're going to be aggressive or try and just trade. But if you try and set up with a traditional trade deck, and then you try and get into a cap battle, it's going to be really hard to do. You kind of need those fast mediums, those fast heavies to be able to get around the map fast enough to control the cap points, given the fact that you're probably going to be losing the trades if you go that strategy. On the other hand, you go very aggressive, you're moving power position, you move to the middle of the map, And if there's 8 mechs spread out all around the map and they're all running off capping, you just can't kill them fast enough unless you're right on top of it, making that call. Yes, they are definitely going cap strat.
Absolutely. I do think that decisions in the mech lab here are definitely going to be huge. At the same time, I think Polar Highlands, it really tests a person's ability to adapt, not just a team's ability to adapt, but an individual pilot's ability to adapt, because you're adapting to cover, you're adapting to the movement of the enemy, and you don't have a lot of those obvious features and things that you're familiar with necessarily.
Yeah, it makes it really hard on the drop commander, right? You can't say, hey guys, we need to group up at radio tower, we need to group up at theta, we need to grow on stage, whatever. Instead, you basically say, hey, we got to put some pressure on them, and it's up to the individual pilots to figure out where they can go, where they can move to get the angles, to take away the enemy's cover while not losing your own cover. Because otherwise, you know, you've just got the grid coordinates to call out, hey, we got to move to Echo 7. I mean, which you can do, but it's a little non-traditional typically in terms of how drop commanders like to operate.
Absolutely, and it is really easy to just tunnel vision a little bit and just feel like, oh, we just got to keep going right, we got to keep going right, we got to keep going right. And it's essentially NASCARing. But the other team can adapt that and either outrun you and start pecking at your slower mechs, or they can set up some way to receive your push. And if you just keep saying you got to keep rotating, and you never get anywhere, then you just get shredded down from the back to the front.
Eventually you run out of cover.
You do. Eventually you do. And honestly, I can tell that this must have been a Blackwatch plan, because they were all readied up instantly. They have their deck decided, and Eon Synergy is like, holy crap, Polar Highlands, we got to come up with an option.
Figure out what
this could be big for Blackwatch. If they have a solid plan in place, this might be a big win for them if they can pull this off, which would take them to 2-1 on the series. But Eon's still a very solid team.
And it, like I said, it all comes down, I think, to this point on this map, to your planning and that initial strategy of the drop caller. That drop caller needs to know right off the bat, the second you get that information available, what mechs are on the field, because what mechs are on the field is going to give a hint at what's going to happen in this match.
All right, well, there's only one way to figure out how is Polar Highlands going to pan out. Let's go to the drop.
So here we go, drop 3. Polar Highlands tied 1-1, Blackwatch and Eon Synergy.
Here we go. Man, I'm just itching to see what are the decks, what is the plan coming out on this. I cannot wait to see what 228 is going to do and what Eon Synergy is going to do to respond. I really feel like Eon's just going to play a very reactionary, adaptive game.
Yeah.
They have no clue what Blackwatch has at all, but Blackwatch, they must have some sort of plan. They have this is really going to be their game to win if they can pull it off.
Well, they still got to play the match, and you never know, Eon could have a great strategy here.
All right, just waiting on those drop ships to come.
I will point out, I like the reaction from the crowd here. We've got a couple folks surprised to see Polar Highlands on the screens here.
All right, here we go. All right, both of those drop ships coming in on the opposite side of the map. Now, this is a very large map. This is the biggest map in the game, so it's going to take them a while to be able to spot each other. But we've got that Wolfhound for Dared, and they opted to bring Shadowcat, Colonel O'Neill, faster medium. Let's see what he's bringing. 3 ER large lasers, so he has that long range capability, but he's a very fast mech. They also have a Hellbringer, Zelaglock. Have not seen a Hellbringer in use
up here
in a long time.
Really, for both teams, bringing some different mechs now that they're playing on Polar Highlands.
Battlemaster 1G, 6 ER large. We are going extreme range, 5 ER large on the Supernova. Summoner, 2 ER PPCs, and Cubert rolling 4 ER large lasers. What do we got over on the Blackwatch side?
So this is definitely an interesting deck. We have dual summoners, dual wolfhounds now for Blackwatch. Definitely unusual move. Hunchback 2CAs, kind of the traditional mechs there, and then dual executioners.
They love those executioners.
Yeah, they've been playing them all night, and again, it's an interesting mech because the mounts are pretty low on this mech, and you've got a lot of hills on this map.
Right off the bat, Blackwatch taking 3 points, sending a lone mech off to Theta and a lone mech off to Kappa. That's going to give them an early lead on the cap points, and they are going on a hard left push. It almost looks like they're going to make their way up to the center.
Yeah, they are moving up into that region of the map where there's a little bit less cover, so they've hopefully got a plan here, or else it's going to hurt.
Eon Synergy looks like they're just trying to get an idea of which direction they're moving so they can best decide how to respond to that. And it looks like both teams kind of moving up to the middle. Eon has a really large spread, and Blackwatch is playing extremely tight and low.
Very tight together here. Had a little bit of a mid-air collision between Defunct and Chrisman, but they seem to have recovered nicely.
So Kappa is actually about to get flipped back in favor of Eon Synergy. There's nobody there to respond, but they are also working the back half of the gamma. This is kind of what you were talking about, going with the fast mechs and just trying to stay ahead of the other team. So while they are losing a point here, they're going to get another one right back.
And these two teams are actually surprisingly close together right now for the mechs that they're bringing, the trade decks, essentially, that they're playing right now. They aren't that far apart.
It's going to be a heck of a lot harder to land airstrikes on this one, I tell you that. Without defining features, it's very easy to just take a step to one side and dodge. There isn't one rock you're hiding behind. There's lots of rolling hills. So any strike that lands successfully is going to be a pretty important one. Here's another attempt right now. Airstrike coming through. This one might tap Kriz, and he actually backs up into it, down to 82% in that summoner.
Does look like right now the 228's getting the worst end of the trade.
Another one right across one last bite. Eon Synergy really bringing the airstrikes and just landing them. They are still working the caps though, 3-2.
Gilbert just took another strike as well. He's down to 59% in that Hunchback 2C, but remember that can be deceiving with those arms.
Is in the summoner, and he's playing low ground, but he is going close, very close. And it's very dangerous because if they decide to silhouette on him, he's going to be caught out big time. This is a very risky move, and he's been spotted by Dired. Dired just putting damage in. As those fast mechs curve around the outside, more strikes coming in.
And like we've talked about all night, this is where Dired really excels, that kind of just harassing light play in that Wolfhound.
Looking at the percents here, Blackwatch seems to be suffering quite a bit of damage on this one. Eon just keeping the pressure on, just working these mechs down, and they're really pressuring up over the center. Blackwatch now back on their heels. It seems like they're going to try and just survive as long as they can while they allow capping to go on, but at the same time they've pulled in all their guys. Yeah, there's no more capping. This is starting to fall apart for Blackwatch. It looks like they're trying to get out.
Moving up as well. You got to wonder at some point, is Blackwatch trying to engage at close range?
Oh, more strikes coming in.
Yeah, this hurts.
I said before that it's going to be very hard to strike, but then Eon is just landing them non-stop.
Doing wonderful with these strikes here.
Eon keeping the pressure on.
And here comes Queenblade moving right up. He's going to come right up over the hill in this Wolfhound. He's very aggressive.
No mechs dead yet, but a lot of really one-shot mechs. And here comes another strike from one of the light mechs. And it kills one last bite. Hardock in the Wolfhound, and Legolas killing Defunct in the summoner. Two dead, two very quick dead for Blackwatch, and Eon's aggression is starting to pay off. Hardock is moving up. He's joining the fight against Archon Adam Steiner, and he gets taken out. Hardock just cleaning up right now in that Wolfhound.
Yeah, 228's just backed into a corner right now. Eon is spread out in a nice, they've got an 8-mech line basically across this hill, and they're just marching forward, taking these guys down one by one.
Yeah, they don't have caps working in their advantage. They have 4 dead. It's not looking good for Blackwatch. Whatever plan they had did not seem to hold up. They played extremely close to each other, and then Eon just fanned out and just started getting angles, and I think that really added up against Blackwatch.
Yeah, and they were dropping strikes so well. When you're that close together, you could get multiple hits with those strikes.
Chrisman able to score a kill against Zelaglock, but he gets killed by Lizzie. 1 mech remaining, and he's off by Theta. And a quick 8-1 victory in favor of Eon Synergy. That puts Eon Synergy up 2-1 on the series.
And whatever 228 was expecting to do in that match, I don't think that was it.
I don't think that was the plan.
And look at that, Lizzie in the Battlemaster 1G, which does have very nice high mounts. 957 damage, 3 kills. That's almost unheard of in an 8v8 match.
That Battlemaster, though, is absolutely insane, and this is the map that I think
this is the map that Battlemaster
those high mounts, the ER larges, and just shooting nonstop, constantly having stuff to shoot at, and doing a great job with it.
Yeah, that's definitely tough to see.
All right, well, let's go back to Darren. Let's see if we can quickly get our 4th map for Drop 4.